Okay, let's dive into something truly fascinating today. We've got this source material here that tells an incredible story.
Yeah, it centers on this young woman, Mira.
Right. And it's not just, her life story. It's really built around this idea, the transformative power of reading, quiet power.
That's it exactly. And our mission here really is to get inside that narrative. We want to kind of pull out the core insights.
Like why reading works.
Yes, why it can be such a powerful engine for change, for courage, and for connection too, especially, if you're learning a language or just navigating life's challenges.
And the starting point is kind of surprising, isn't it?
It really is.
Because it starts with someone who honestly just didn't like books at all. Okay, let's unpack this.
So the source introduces us to Mira. She's 25, lives a pretty quiet life.
Work in the coffee shop?
Yeah, coffee shop job, evenings, mostly TV, scrolling on her phone. Pretty standard stuff for a lot of people, I think.
Totally relatable. But you get the sense she wanted something more. The source hints at it.
Deeper desires, yeah. Things like more confidence. She really wanted to improve her English, understand people better, maybe travel down the line.
But the big roadblock, the source makes it super clear, was books.
Hated them. Saw them as like boring homework she had to slog through. Definitely something to avoid.
And that avoidance, it created this internal conflict, didn't it? This struggle.
Absolutely. She felt, and the source uses this word, smaller than her friends.
The ones who read and used big words.
Exactly. And it made her question herself, her intelligence, how well she could speak, that feeling of just not being enough.
So the change doesn't come from some big resolution. It's simpler.
Much simpler. It's just a rainy day, a sudden downpour.
And she ducks into the nearest place.
Which happens to be this old, kind of forgotten library. Just to get out of the rain.
Just killing time, wandering around.
Almost mindlessly, yeah. And she picks up this small book, blue cover, golden stars, simple title. The journey begins.
With no real intention of actually reading it.
None at all. Just something to hold, to look at while the rain stops. But then, the aha moment, as the source calls it.
She opens it up.
And the very first sentence just hooks her. Completely. You're stronger than you think, braver than you know, and this is only the beginning.
Wow. And that specific line, why do you think the source really flags that one? What hit home?
Well, it feels incredibly personal, doesn't it? For someone feeling smaller, questioning things.
Right.
That line isn't instruction, it's affirmation. It's saying you already are strong, you already are brave. It reflects back a potential she maybe didn't see in herself.
Directly speaks to those unspoken desires she had. Like a mirror.
Exactly like a mirror. And the effect is immediate. Profound.
Yeah. She forgets her phone, the rain, time itself.
Yeah, the source says she just gets lost in it. She's actually reading, and she's liking it for the first time.
That's the start of it all. She takes a book home.
And the source uses that word, magical. Something has definitely shifted. It's not just paper and ink anymore.
It's like a door opened.
Yeah, a door into her own mind, into this world of words she'd shut out. The source even mentions she sleeps with the book next to her, not her phone.
That detail says so much.
It really does. A tiny action, huge meaning.
Okay, so this isn't just a one-off thing. She doesn't just forget about it.
No, she goes back the very next day.
Back to the library.
But willingly this time. Feeling changed, definitely curious.
And the librarian notices her.
Yeah, remembers her from the rainy day and sort of gently guides her, suggests a couple more books, similar vibe, approachable, but with depth. Like Voices in the Wind, The Light Inside Us.
Simple but powerful. And while she's there, looking around, she sees something else.
Right, this slightly open door marked staff-only archives leading downstairs.
To the basement. You can almost feel the mystery building in the source material here.
Absolutely. And going down there, it's like stepping into another world. Dusty old shelves, boxes overflowing with letters, photos.
And books.
Nah.
Hundreds of old rare books.
Yeah, it's presented like this hidden treasure room, full of secrets and history.
And right there, on a table, open, is this thick book filled with notes written by hand.
The title, The Power of Stories.
This feels significant, a turning point within a turning point.
It really is, because she reads this key quote from it, one that's clearly marked. A story is not just words. It is a mirror, a map, and a spark. It shows you who you are, where you could go, and lights the way.
A mirror, a map, and a spark. Powerful framing.
And then the librarian tells her about the book, the notes. They belong to Mr. Clark.
The first librarian there.
That's right. And he wasn't just organizing books. He genuinely believed stories could heal people. He left those notes deliberately.
Like little clues.
Exactly. Like breadcrumbs to help people find their own way through the story.
So this elevates reading beyond just, learning English or passing time.
Massively. The librarian puts it beautifully. Reading can be a door out of pain, a window into new worlds, a key to a better you.
It connects reading directly to personal growth, to healing.
And that connection sparks something totally new in Mira.
Because that night, she doesn't just take home more books.
No. She takes a notebook too. And the source makes a point of this shift. It's not just about reading anymore. Now she feels this urge to write.
The mystery of the basement, Mr. Clark's legacy. It's lit a fire.
Definitely. She's hooked by this whole idea now. Mr. Clark, the notes, that basement atmosphere.
And she copies down another quote she finds there.
Yeah. Books do not change the world. Readers do.
Putting the power with the person, not just the object.
Right. She really takes that to heart. The power is in the engagement, the interaction.
And she wants to know more about Mr. Clark's actual impact.
So the librarian shares his journal, and it's full of these little stories, anecdotes.
Real lives changed.
Yeah. A bullied kid finding courage, a woman working through heartbreak, a father learning English to connect with his kids. The source hammers it home. These lives were changed by reading.
So how did he do that? Just leave notes?
Well, the notes were part of it, but Mira finds his system, little blue stickers.
Just stickers.
On hundreds of books, each with a tiny inscription, for those who seek something more, and his initials, AC.
Wow. So he created this curated pathway within the library. A subtle guide.
A map, really, for anyone looking for something more.
In seeing all this, Mira starts to feel a shift in herself, right?
Yeah, she realizes she's not just reading about this stuff, she's becoming part of it, part of the library's ongoing story.
And that urge to write gets stronger. Something's waking up, the source says.
She feels ready for the next step. She actually asks the librarian for the book that changes everything. Bold move.
And she gets the book of questions.
Which is designed differently. No answers inside.
Just questions.
But powerful ones. Really personal. Things like, what is the life you dream of? Who are you when no one is watching? When did you stop believing in yourself and why?
Oof. Those hit deep.
Right. And the source says she uses this book with her new notebook. And the answers start pouring out.
Unlocking things.
Memories, fears she'd buried, dreams she'd forgotten about, wanting to be a teacher, that fear of public speaking, the wish to travel, it all starts coming up.
So this is where reading becomes really introspective for her.
Exactly. She sees it's not just about words on a page or learning grammar. It's a tool to listen to her own voice, her own thoughts, her feelings.
Mr. Clark's books were a map, but a map to her own purpose.
Precisely. Not just following his path, but finding hers. And this internal change starts showing on the outside. She makes reading a daily habit, starts sharing little quotes, encouraging notes with her coworkers.
They notice.
Yeah, they notice she seems lighter, more present. The source links it directly. She's learning about life, people, hope, herself, really, through these books.
She takes a big personal step then, doesn't she, writing that letter?
To her younger self, yeah. Acknowledging the old fears, but also celebrating how far she's come. It's a real act of self-compassion.
Learned through this whole process.
And then she decides to follow Mr. Clark's lead more actively.
She asked the librarian.
Can I mark books too? And she gets okay. So she starts adding her own blue stickers, her own handwritten notes.
What kinds of notes?
Things like, you're not alone, someone else has felt this too, keep going. Creating these little threads of connection for future readers.
That's beautiful. It changes the library itself.
It really does. It stops being just a quiet building with books and becomes, well, a conversation. Others start leaving notes too, inspired by Mira and Mr. Clark.
It becomes interactive, alive.
And she sees the direct impact. There's this moment where one of her notes helps a really nervous young girl feel seen, feel understood.
And Mira realizes.
This is the heart of it. Reading connects hearts. It's about shared experience, shared humanity.
It's amazing how that personal journey just naturally flows outward into wanting to build something.
It feels like the logical next step, right? She's found something amazing, this sense of possibility, and she wants to share it.
Which leads to the reading club.
Exactly. A space designed for people maybe like she used to be. Learning English, feeling a bit shy, just wanting to find a place they belong.
She starts really small, doesn't she? Just a sign.
Yeah, simple sign. Reading club, Saturday, 11 a.m. All welcome, no pressure, just stories, smiles, and slow English.
That slow English part feels important. Taking the pressure off.
Totally. And the first week, 3 people show up. An older man from Iran, a teenage boy from Colombia, a woman from the Philippines.
And Mira sets the tone right away.
With that message, we don't have to be perfect, just have to be present, creating that safety from the start.
And the vibe the source describes, it sounds lovely.
Really is. Slow reading, nobody judging if you stumble over words, talking about feelings the stories bring up, laughing together. Just a safe space.
Built on being vulnerable, connecting.
And it works. The group grows fast. Soon, the room's full of faces from all over the world.
It becomes more than just a club.
Oh, yeah, a real community. People start bringing tea, cookies, their own favorite books to share. It takes on a life of its own.
And the impact on the members.
The source highlights it. People find the courage to actually use their English outside the club. They finish their first book ever in English. Someone even says they feel human again.
Wow. Human again. That says so much about the isolation they must have felt.
And how the community, the stories broke through that. They even start writing together. Story circles, they call them.
Embracing mistakes.
Totally. Seeing mistakes as just part of creating something together. And their collective story, the source notes, kind of mirrors Mira's own journey of finding her voice.
The club keeps growing too, right? Different ages join in.
Yeah, kids, teens, adults, grandparents. It makes that beautiful point. Stories don't care about your age or where you're from.
But just offer that invitation.
Will you listen? And will you share? That's the core of it.
And Mira finds her place there.
Yeah.
Feels at home.
Deeply. And then she finds that anonymous note.
Thank you, Mira. You helped me find my voice.
Talk about validation. Seeing proof that her own quiet journey is actually empowering other people directly.
So the story starts in this quiet library basement, builds this amazing community, and then it takes another leap.
Onto a much bigger stage, yeah.
The City Literacy Foundation hears about the reading club.
Probably through the library's online stuff, maybe word of mouth. And they invite Mira to speak.
At their big Voices of Change event.
Which, as you can imagine, brings back all those old feels instantly.
Speaking in public. In English.
Terrifying for her. The source is clear. Those old voices pop right back up. You're not good enough. Your English isn't perfect. They'll laugh.
But something's different this time.
Yes. That quiet, steady voice she found through reading, through writing, it's stronger now. It pushes back against the doubts.
She finds health in one of her books, too.
Turns back to the Book of Questions and finds this passage almost like it was waiting for her. Sometimes the next chapter begins with fear, but if we don't turn the page, we'll never know what happens.
Framed in story language. A call to turn the page on fear.
Exactly. And crucially, her community rallies around her.
The reading club.
They become her cheerleaders, her practice audience. They help her with grammar, encourage her nonstop. It turns her speech into like a group project. Their collective courage helps fuel hers.
So the event itself?
Yeah.
Big hall, lights.
Yeah, the source paints the picture. She's backstage, super nervous, probably doubting everything again. And this kind woman just tells her, simply, that she's already making a difference just by showing up.
And when she gets up to speak?
She starts slowly, but her voice, the source says, is calm. It's full of heart. It's honest. She just tells her story.
The rainy day, the library, the fear, the club. Simple, real.
And her core message really lands. Reading didn't just help me learn English, it helped me learn courage. It helped me remember that our voices matter even if we're not perfect, especially when we're not perfect.
Powerful, the reaction.
Huge applause, long and loud. people shouting thanks. She feels this deep satisfaction.
Realizing that facing the fear, speaking her truth, that's where the courage grows.
Exactly. She writes in her notebook that night, "Today, I didn't just read a chapter, I lived one." She didn't just read about courage, she actually lived it out.
And that experience, sharing her story and seeing the reaction, it sparks the next big idea.
It does. She decides to write a book herself.
But not a textbook.
No, definitely not. Something different for people like her former self. People afraid to start, people who feel intimidated.
What's the goal for this book?
To be simple, gentle, short stories, hopeful words, like a friend for the learner, the source says. Personal, real, connection over grammar.
And she calls it The Courage to Read.
Perfect title. And the content comes right from her journey. Tiny stories, struggles, wins. Those exercises on reframing negative self-talk.
Like failure becomes first lesson.
Yeah, or accent becomes story music. It's all about changing perspective, gently guiding.
Was it easy to write?
No, the source says it was hard, full of doubt. But she kept going by thinking about the faces in the reading club, remembering that anonymous note. That kept her focused.
Her why?
Exactly. She finishes the draft, shares it with the club first.
And they're moved.
Deeply. They call it a bridge. A bridge to courage, to possibility.
And it starts to spread beyond the club.
Organically, yeah. The library shares it online. A community college picks it up. Teachers say it makes students feel seen. Someone even starts another reading group in a different town because of it.
It's clearly meeting a need out there.
Which leads to a publisher getting in touch. She accepts, sees it as just turning the page.
The next natural step.
Holding the published book, seeing that dedication. For every learner, reader, and dreamer, you are not alone. Must have felt incredible.
And it's a shared win with her club. We did it.
Absolutely. But the story doesn't stop there. Another invitation comes, bigger this time.
International Literacy Conference.
Oh.
New York City.
Yeah, massive leap. And again, the nerves kick in, the distance, the scale, speaking English on a global stage.
But she accepts.
She does. Sees it again, my next chapter.
And the conference itself.
Sounds amazing. Meeting people from everywhere, hearing all these different stories, but feeling that common thread of hope underneath it all.
And her speech.
She tells her simple story again, but the source stresses its impact is global now. It resonates. People thank her afterwards for her honesty, for the hope she offers.
And that young woman.
Yeah, who tells Mira that because of her, she's finally starting to read again. Just incredibly powerful feedback.
So Mira feels this sense of belonging, even on this huge stage.
But stays true to her small beginnings, you know? That library basement. She writes something like, courage grows when we share our journey with others. It's not just personal anymore, it's amplified by sharing.
She comes home with all this energy.
And a new idea, the Reading Bridges Project.
Visiting other reading clubs, building connections.
Exactly. Creating a network. Sharing stories, kindness, reading together, connecting people across different groups.
And the project gets going. She travels, meets people.
Yeah, reaches out, visits diverse groups, hears all sorts of stories. Sad, happy, just real life stuff.
And she gets that confirmation again, doesn't she?
From another young woman who says Mira's book specifically helped her start reading again. It just reinforces that her core approach, sharing her own vulnerability, is what truly connects.
And the source ends with the journey still unfolding, another invitation.
From a famous university, yeah, to speak about their Reading Bridges project.
And that final line.
Reading was the first step. Now the world is waiting. Leaves you right there on the cusp of what's next.
Wow. I mean, what an incredible journey. From someone who actively disliked books, felt small.
To an author, a community builder, a voice speaking on global stages, it's quite something.
It really does hammer home those key takeaways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Reading isn't just functional.
Not at all. It's this profound path to self-discovery, a way to find courage you didn't know you had, a tool to build real community.
And connect hearts across all sorts of divides.
Yeah, and what's so powerful, I think, is how it all began. Not with some grand plan.
Just stepping into a library on a rainy day,
Huh.
opening one book.
It shows you the incredible, unpredictable potential locked inside even the smallest step, the most humble beginning.
Which really leaves us with a thought, doesn't it? For you, listening.
Yeah. If one book, one rainy day, could start a journey like Mara's writing books, speaking internationally, what unexpected journey might begin for you?
With the very next page you decide to turn.
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Okay, that's all for this deep dive.